Welcome to Fuzzybutts and Friends. Well, as much as it drives Fuzzybutts all over this place absolutely nuts when they hear me say it, I am the host of the show, your big dog, Luke Robinson, and glad to have back again with us this week. She's the executive director of the Puppy Up Foundation, Ginger Morgan. Ginger, how are you?
I am doing well. I'm glad we're back and we're in our second season of Fuzzybutts and Friends. I almost said Puppy Up and Friends. Well,
I make that mistake occasionally myself. Yeah, we are well into season 2. We've got 4, I think we've dropped 4 episodes to date. They've been wonderful. We're getting a lot of hits this season, a lot more than last season. But most of our topics, Ginger, have been a little bit tough, I think, for the audience, very serious and in some cases heartbreaking. So I thought we'd take a break from cancer and cruelty to animals this episode and talk about beer. How about that?
A lot of people like to talk about beer. That is for sure, especially since this is airing after Super Bowl Sunday.
That's right. It is the time for beer, but in this case, it's not beer for humans. It's canine beer. And here to talk with us this episode is Jenny Brown. She's the founder and CEO of Bowser Beer. Jenny, how are you?
I'm great, Luke. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to Fuzzybutts and Friends. We like to begin this show, Jenny, make it easy, throw you a softball to start it out with your Fuzzybutts. Tell us about your Fuzzybutts. I hope you have some. Do you have any dogs of your own right now, or any?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I just actually lost my dog to cancer. He was 13, and it came on very quickly. I've had a couple dogs that have passed from cancer, and it's terrible. But he lived a good life. He was a rescue dog. He was actually on a euthanasia list when they a rescue group took him in, and then we took him, and he was like the last chance adoption. And he was great. I love, he was with us for 13 years, and I think we gave him a good life. But he was part of a pack of dogs. He got along great with the dogs he lived with, and they were just great. But I've had many dogs. I've had as many as 4 dogs at a time.
Well, what's his name? What was his name?
His name was Muggsy.
Muggsy. Well, if I had known, I would have a picture queued up and posted it. And I'm sorry for your loss. That's a tough one, but yes, 13 years. It's a lot of years, but never enough in my.
Never enough.
So Jenny, you've lost a few dogs to cancer, then. So
we have. I've had 5 Goldens, and that seems to be, Goldens get it. We actually had a tripod Golden. One of our Golden Retrievers, his name was Scuzzy, and he was a tripod for a while.
Was he a tripod because he had bone cancer or so?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, so he had one of his legs amputated, and it gave him about a year. Gave him another year, and then it metastasized into his brain. So
Wow, his brain. That's so uncommon. I'm sure 90% of all bone cancers go to the lungs. So brain cancer.
Well, he started having seizures, and it really upset the other dog too. And I just that's I don't want him to go through that.
Yeah, well, you have Golden Retrievers, and as you know, they're the #1 cancer dog, or we think they get it more often than any other breed. Although American Bulldogs, Boxers, their tumor factors, they're top on the list as well. Well, I'm sorry for your losses, Jenny. That's always a tough time. So do you have a new puppy, new Fuzzybutt in your life, or just holding off because the pain is still so acute?
I'm actually at my office, and I am fostering a dog. One of the other organizations we work with besides Puppy Up is Dogs on Deployment. And so I have a dog that I'm fostering until end of February this month for a Navy woman she's in the Navy, and she's been deployed, so she can't take care of her pet. So he's been staying with me since October, and then she gets back. She's on a big aircraft carrier, and it's heading back to its base in San Diego at the end of this month. So he's been staying with me. So it's a nice transition, Yeah,
well, I hope your foster dog doesn't end up like my situation, where I was fostering a 3-legged tripod there for a little while, and somehow I ended up with him permanently. I don't know how. I think he tricked me. I think he signed the papers maybe and got a hold of my Venmo and that transaction. I ended up with Grayson. No, I love them. I love tripods. They're speaking of, are you? We're big friends of the tripod organization. Do you know those, Jim and Renee? Do you know those folks?
I don't know them, but I know of the organization.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the great people. We'll have to connect you.
Yeah.
I thought we'd get away from talking about cancer this week, Ginger, but unfortunately, as we know, we talk about it this week, cancer is the #1 killer in our canine companion. So it's just impossible to get away with it. But let's talk about how you got your start in this amazing business that you've built, Bowser Bears. So tell us your origin story, Jenny.
Well, my background is, I was originally a nurse, and then I went back to school and I got a master's in biomedical engineering, and I worked in software design development for a long time. And I was in between jobs, and it was Christmas time, and I was helping a friend at a farmer's market in Virginia. And I made some pretzel treats for a few people, and I kept hearing people say, "Well, if you make them for dogs, I'd buy them because I need a housewarming gift, and I don't know what to get the people, but I'll get it for the dog, and then we'll be all covered." And so I made some for the dogs, and they were very popular. And then I got roped into little festival thing, and then I thought, well, what goes with pretzels but beer? And so I researched some, very serendipitous, made up a batch, and it just sold out. And over the course of the weekend at that festival, I mean, I just kept hearing all this feedback, and I thought naively, wow, this we could make a business. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And it resonates with people because I mean, the thought of beer, having a beer with your dog, just, kind of, it really resonates with a lot of people. And since dogs are so much part of celebratory activities in life, that it just, I mean, this was back in 2008, and it's still going strong. So.
Yeah, I wish I am going to watch the Super Bowl this weekend, so I wish I had a couple of Bowser beers to break open with my kids, although I don't drink anymore.
I would have sent you some.
Yeah, well, my Fuzzybutts, they can indulge all they want. Well, it's interesting, Jenny. We do a lot of events through the Puppy Up Foundation, a lot of Puppy Up walks all around the country, and I can't recall the exact year, but just out of nowhere, I started seeing beer for dogs, and I, like everyone else, I thought it was really neat and novel, and I figured it would probably go over pretty well. Did you, Jenny, did Bowser Beer originate the concept? Were you at first to the market with a canine beer?
There was actually a woman that started before me, but she closed her business and went on to other things, and so we stayed on doing it. So so we were like the second one.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and it, like I said, it just, it takes, I don't know that she was, really committed long term to it, but she decided that she just shut it down. I mean, it's not easy to do.
No, I have an inkling about building businesses. I've done a couple in my lifetime, and I know they can be a grind, but yours is a labor of passion, I guess.
Yes.
A labor of love, as they say.
So Luke,
yeah.
When we took Hudson and Murphy on St. Patrick's Day, remember the year that Murphy passed, we took him to a bar named Murphy's, and we actually had a bottle or two of Bowser beer that we gave them.
And then you got a hold of me, I think.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I recall that occasion perfectly. Actually, it was a tough time, and I remember that. I still recall the pictures that we did. We thought it was neat in there at an old Irish bar. So that's wonderful. I know we do have you have Hudson on one of your bottles of beer that I wanted to show everybody. I guess this is good enough time as any for me to see if I can share the screen here and bring up a picture of my kid. Let's see, is that coming up?
There it is.
Is that yours, Luke?
Oh, that's Hudson. Yes, it is. Somehow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember doing that. Bottoms up, puppy up.
Yep.
Thank you so much for doing that, for honoring Hudson. He wasn't the Irish in our family, but he was a sweet kid. I just lost him to cancer a little over a year ago, and that Ginger had the picture and the memory was really quite special. So thank you for doing that. And that's one of the things that you can do, though,
Yeah, so
Jenny
yeah, I
is
want to explain. Those are custom labels. I'm gonna see if I can show you. This is our normal label. Can you see that?
I can,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so we do custom labels, and we've done and we work with 3 different nonprofits, and Puppy Up is one of them, where if someone orders their custom label, we made a special label for them, and then they get 15% back on that, which and so this is like another one. This is a dog named Cooper. Somebody,
There we go.
yeah, somebody sent in the picture, and they got Cooper's Ale, and then we also have another one, Congo.
Uh-huh.
So, anybody can send in their dog's picture, and if they choose those charity labels, then we donate back to the organization. It's our way of just being able to, we're not without having to, we're not able to do huge sponsorships, but we can do something, we can leverage something like that we do, and people love that.
Yeah, and doing my diligence on the preparation for the show, I saw on your website you do have a section about nonprofits. So thank you for making the donation and supporting the Puppy Up Foundation. I don't always do this because because the numbers aren't big and it's not really a big issue, and I'm not really I invite people on the show not to plug a product or a person or anything, but to bring interesting, unique topics to our audience. But I should make the disclaimer, Ginger, I guess, that Bowser Beer has graciously donated some beer to your upcoming to the walks, and also Ginger has a new Puppy Up program going on. Ginger, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so kind of stole this from somebody who stole it from somebody, but so at our walks now, when we can, we're going to have a slobber saloon where Bowser Beer is we have an agreement. They're kind of donating. We're paying a little bit, but they're donating a whole lot more of that than what we're paying. So they're sponsoring our slobber saloons, and it's just going to be so cute because we're going to have little, I don't think you can get like little beer mugs, but so we're going to do martini glasses. So it'll be better for the dogs to kind of lick it out of there. And then we may have, I think Jenny, you were the one who suggested the root beer floats.
Yeah, the dog beer float. We call them dog beer floats.
Dog beer floats. Yeah, that wouldn't be root beer, but dog beer floats. So we might try that, but I'm going to start out with just a slobber saloon. Yeah.
Excuse me.
So we might do that because so we're going to do the slobber saloon at our Madison, Wisconsin walk, and then we're going to do it for our Memphis walk as well. But we also have a venue here in Memphis called the Overton Shell, where they have a lot of free concerts. So I've talked to them, and we're going to be at a lot of their free concerts with our slobber saloon.
So are you going to have
you can take dogs?
Are you going to have
take dogs to the park?
You're gonna have like a Puppy Up bar there and serve the Bowser.
Oh yeah, I'm having somebody. Oh yeah, it's gonna be so cute. I'm having somebody design the front of it. So and it's gonna be removable because we may use it for other things. But it's gonna be so cute. It's gonna be like a high bar kind of thing. Yeah, it's cute. It's gonna be really cute.
It is neat, but
wait.
We've got so much to cover here, and we're kind of jumping around, but I kind of want to start off with just the basics and clarify to our audience or people out there in the internet sphere, just because I don't want to end up with this clip or this episode or parts of this clip talking about it. There are people talking about giving beer and alcohol to our Fuzzybutts. Just to clarify for the audience, this is not beer, this is not alcohol. So Jenny, tell us exactly what is. I guess you don't have to share the secret recipe or anything, but tell us what is Bowser Beer and what's in it?
Well, so I'm glad you brought that up because we try and educate people also in not giving their dogs alcohol or beer. And you'd be surprised. I mean, we hear all kinds of feedback, but it's just not good for them. So there's no carbonation in it. I mean, in terms of regular beer, there's not much other than the water and the malt barley in beer that's good for the dogs. And the carbonation is not good for their stomach. The alcohol, of course, is not good for them. And hops are actually very toxic to dogs. And if a dog gets hold, some breeds are more sensitive than others, but especially I worry about, craft breweries and things like that. And I've talked to people and they've double fenced their hop fields because if a dog actually gets a part of the hop bud, the plant, it's lethal. it causes something called malignant hypothermia, where their temperature rises to a point where it literally just fries their organs, and it's irreversible when it gets to a certain point. So it's very, very dangerous to give dogs. You don't want to give them IPAs or anything like that. That's very hoppy, but you just shouldn't give them any alcohol, period. But if they're ever around any kind of brewery, you just should keep them totally away from any hop plants. So, so we try and educate people, because people don't understand. I mean, they don't realize that, about chocolates and grapes and raisins and all that, but hops are really very bad. So instead of hops, we use meat for flavoring. And our 3 flavors are beef, chicken, and pork. So we actually use real meat. Everything is human grade. We make our own. It's like a broth, because it's got the meat, and it's got hot malt barley, which has vitamin B and lots of amino acids. It's really good for their coats. And then we add a little bit of glucosamine for joints. And that's basically it. And since we make it from scratch, we don't add fat, we don't add salt. People will say, well, I'll just buy them, broth. I'll go to the grocery store and buy a thing of chicken broth. But that has a lot of MSG and a lot of salt. And frankly, you don't know where the chicken comes from. You really don't know what the meat is in there. So it's not good to give them a lot of salt, just like anyone else. And so anyway, so it's a beer for dogs, and it's in the beer bottles. And people, they really project their own human things on their dogs, because they include them in everything. And I mean, we've done dog weddings. We've done, it's just wherever there's a party, whatever, the dogs are there, and they want to take.
Well, I think it's a fantastic idea. I really do, because in thinking about it, when the novelty wears off and you really think about it, you really have a unique opportunity, Jenny, to provide some additional nutritional support to our canine companions, to our Fuzzybutts. And that's an important thing, because not every pet parent out there, you're the one who I'm talking to, gives their kids, their Fuzzybutts, the best diet. And so it's kind of like, and I want to talk about it in a second, the emergence of this new nutritional drink industry, which is huge in humans. And I actually kind of like the concept of like liquid IV, I think is what it's called. Things like that, where certain people don't have time during the day to make sure that they intake enough, they don't get enough nutritional support. And so I guess the thinking with these nutritional drinks, they can augment or complement whatever your daily intake is. And I think the great thing and interesting things about Bowser Beer is you have that opportunities. You could really provide some good stuff there for the Fuzzybutts.
Well, can I add? We don't claim any kind of medicinal things, because that gets into a whole different realm. And we're but we say it's hydration, and dogs need hydration. Just as an example, on the practical side of it, we get tons of feedback from people who have older dogs, or a lot of dogs with cancer, that are they've lost their appetite. And so pouring a little bit of Bowser Beer on their meal gives them some motivation to eat. I mean, we sent, there was a very famous national news anchor who had a lab, and she wouldn't eat her dinner without chicken flavored Bowser Beer on her. So we would ship cases to her house. Well, she lived to be 16, but she wouldn't eat her dinner until she had that on there.
So she had her beer. That's pretty funny.
That's an important thing. Use cases. We'll talk about that in just one second, because that does give our audience a better idea. Hey, this is not just a novelty thing that you take out to dog parties, birthday parties, whatever. Well, is like you said, it can be an add-on to their. Because I know Ginger and I both do this. Is I give, in addition to kibble, for my kids, I also weekly I give them a little bit of chicken broth or turkey broth as well.
Right. Well, and the plastic bottles are great because people can take them hiking with them, and the dogs get thirsty. A couple of years ago, when we had a huge mudslide in Oso, Washington, and they had, there was a lot of search and rescue going on, weeks of it, and I got involved with the search and rescue people with their canine dogs, and they would actually pack. I donated a bunch to them. And then I ended up talking to the FEMA veterinarians, and they said, well, we can't promote this because we have they had this specially approved stuff, but it was a lemon hydration product. And And frankly, from the search and rescue people were saying, the dogs didn't really want lemon in their water, and they loved the Bowser beer, and they'd pack them in their backpacks, and they'd be out there, and at the end of the search day, that they give the dogs some of the beer, and they loved it. They just drank it up as hydration, and so, and that was one of the major things too, to keep those dogs hydrated was really super important, because they were out all day doing search and rescue missions.
So just want to ask one. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, I guess, everybody, but the beer doesn't need to be, the bottles don't need to be refrigerated until they're open, correct?
Right,
okay.
Because of the meat, and then you have to, then you refrigerate it, just like anything else. It's,
okay.
meat in it. So so that's great. So they could put it in their backpacks and take it. I mean, people go hiking with their dogs and they'll take it out.
I've been known to backpack with my dogs for a while, and the
camping.
Yeah, exactly. I've camped out a few times and been backpacked with my dogs a few times. But the interesting thing is, and I'm glad that you bring that up as a use case, is I have never once considered in all of my backpacking adventures thought about, what, that's just have a bottle of the Bowser beer, like you said, just for the additional nutrition, the sodium, the broth, and again to put over the kibble. So next adventure, I need to talk to you about hooking me up with some Bowser beer.
I will happy to do that.
I'll be doing more backpacking adventures with my Fuzzybutts this year in 2023. So it's a great idea. So those are two really good use cases for our audience. Then backpacking, hiking of any sort, any I guess outdoor activity with your companion would be great to take a bottle of Bowser beer, and then also, like you said, as a supplement or additional to kibble when they eat. What are some of the other use cases or that people are using Bowser beer for?
Well, we sell to bars and restaurants. So when people go, a lot of bars are dog friendly. So people go and, if they have something for the dog, then they'll stay longer. So the bars love it. And the dogs don't get bored. They have something to, to do and drink. And I don't know if we also sell these doggy cigars. They're sausage cigars. So you have a beer and a cigar, and we sell these two.
I did not know that.
Oh yes, they're turkey, beef, and lamb, and dogs are just addicted to them. They're really good. They're smoked sausage. And
so they can feel like they're hanging out with the fellas. Yeah.
Well, if you look on our social media at Bowser Beer, people, especially now, I mean, dogs definitely have sports teams, and they have. We worked with other dogs that are like mascots for different teams and things like that, and there's the hockey. Oh, I'm blanking, but anyway, they every time they win, they have a victory cigar and all that. And it's just we work with hotels too, because when people travel, their dogs are kind of off schedule, and so a lot of times the hotels will provide them as part of their amenities. And if you're just traveling with dry food, or they provide dry food, again, you can put it on the food. It's amazing. I mean, any kind of party, birthday parties, weddings, and people celebrate. There they are, and the dogs have lots of birthday parties.
Do we have any idea?
Yeah, we're okay. So Kelly is going to definitely have some beer at her birthday party this year. So Kelly's going to be 3. So.
Well, I'm not sure in dog years that would make her old enough to drink beer, though. I don't know. I'm not sure.
She won't be carded.
Yeah, we won't card her or her siblings.
We also, here's another thing too, Luke. This is something we get customer feedback all the time. And we started selling these little popsicle trays. They're just little bone-shaped trays, silicone trays that you can pour the Bowser beer in and freeze it. And we suggested putting fruit in it. We do like a blueberry and strawberry for 4th of July into the chicken beer, and then it's this red, white, and blue theme. And so one of our customers said that his dog had to take some kind of Chinese herbal medicine, and it was bitter, and so he would freeze it in the little popsicles. And so then a lot of people, we just put that out there as suggestions. So some people will put their medicines in the little popsicles and freeze it, and then the dogs crunch it up and think it's just, like a little icy treat, and they don't know they have the medicine. So
one more way for me to trick my dog, Lily. She takes all types of supplements.
if you're anything like my dogs, they would pick it out of the peanut butter and spit it out. Spit the pill out.
Yeah, I have to crunch hers up and add it in with, I make her either a chicken or turkey stew with all kinds of veggies in it, and I mix it up with that, and she'll eat anything if you put it in there,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Well, I've had having 3 cancer dogs. I've had my fair share of
Yeah.
frustrated days and nights of not being able to get meds in my kids. And just thinking about that, yeah, I often use broth, and I actually did make some form of popsicle to try to freeze it. Although I can't remember what I did to try that concept, but I love that. That's just a
I'll
wonderful
pick you
idea.
up because they're small enough that they don't hurt their teeth. So
Right, right.
yeah.
That's a wonderful idea. Well, Ginny, do you have any idea, talking about all the use cases and the various ways that pet parents can use Bowser beer, do you have any idea what the market size is? Looking at this from a business perspective, because I used to be a business guy and I'm fascinated about what the potential is for the product. Because I guess you would probably be in the market segment along with maybe like other nutritional drinks like goat's milk or something. Would you think? Have you done kind of a complete market analysis of what the potential is?
Well, I mean, we ship it all over the country, and what we found is it's not only just pet stores. I mean, like I said, we sell to hotels, we sell to, uh, actually, we sell the cigars in tons of places, that are totally non-pet oriented, but people love having something just like a little point of sale thing. And a lot of times they start out with the cigars, and then sometimes they'll add the beer to it because people just love buying the buying something to take home to their dogs. So the potential is, is tremendous.
Absolutely.
We've been in hotels or in airport shops. We've been, there's just it's really COVID and the supply chain have made some challenges in the past couple of years, just in terms of with production quantities, but the demand has been there, and so it's just a matter of working through all those because we can sell as much as we make, and
Right.
and then more some, and so and the thing about dogs, there's always more dogs. I mean, it's just dogs are just constantly replenishing, and they're just it's and people are still madly in love with their dogs. So
No, I have no idea. It's a rapidly growing market, just like the nutritional drink market, I guess, for people, which is also doing so well because of all the different uses and occasions that people can do. And I would imagine the same is true for dogs. And as we know, the dog retail, or I guess the pet retail industry as a whole, has been growing really quite
it's been
substantially.
growing exponentially since we
Right.
started out. I mean, it's over. I mean, it's over 100 billion now. I mean, it's
Right.
and the biggest sections are pet foods and treats.
Right.
Uh,
Well, we're all
and
doing that. That's a good indication. That means we're all doing our job right, because I know Ginger through the Puppy Up Foundation, as well as myself, and now through Fuzzybutts and Friends, everything that we do is try to emphasize the value of companion animals in society and our lives. And
yeah,
so if more people are spending to provide a better life and lifestyle for their companion animals, and the market is growing, the industry is growing, that's where we're doing our job. So you're
well, yeah,
doing your job, Ginger. You're doing this is our little pat yourself on the back here.
and you've got a great example that people will spend the money because they love their pets so much, and they're not disposable. They're not a disposable thing. If your pet is sick, people will do anything to keep that pet a little bit longer with them, or make them comfortable, or help them get through cancers. Just because they get diagnosed with cancers doesn't mean that's it. I mean, there are options, and people will take advantage of that because they love their pets. I mean, it's just a very enduring bond. And
Absolutely. And that's just I truly believe that the people more and more, and I see this on social media a lot, that people just have a much better sense of how to value companion animals in society. And we want that for not only for our family, but also our companion animals. So people are willing to spend more to give them the additional comfort. We know with cancer treatment, people are doing everything. More and more people are doing everything they can to extend the outcome or extend the life prognosis of their companion animals. So I would say in the 15 years I've been building the foundation since I started my first walk after I lost my first dog to cancer, it's just amazing just how progressive we've become as a society. I come from the South, and there's still areas in the South, I guess the foundation is located in the South technically as well, that people don't value animals as highly as other areas in the country, like say New England, and they still kind of treat animals as chattel or property. But even
in the South,
in the South, even still though, I think the general, we see it on commercials now. I think that everything we see and consume now in the media, there's always a companion animal. I can't tell you, I just don't see commercials without a dog or a cat anymore, Ginger.
Yeah.
hardly ever.
Right.
It's amazing. It can be a commercial for something totally unrelated to a pet, and you're like, okay.
I think the advertisers know that if they put a dog in there or something like that, it's just going to appeal to people even more.
Yeah.
I just thought this is the age of the Fuzzybutts. That's what we'll call this, the age of the Fuzzybutts. It is a good time. I'm sorry, go ahead, please, Jenny.
Oh no, I was just going to say, from what I've read also, that there's been a great correlation between cancer research in dogs and extending it to helping humans, and the treatments that they are discovering, for dogs, and there's some correlation with how humans can be treated too, and vice versa.
That's right. We have our foundation. We fund cancer research, and we fund what's called comparative oncology, which is exactly what you're talking about. Is that dogs are biologically comparable for cancers and understanding cancers in people, and it's now actually in the scientific community, we no longer think of cancer in humans versus cancer in dogs. It's more of a one cancer, one ecosystem sort of approach. You're right. So. And what I like to think, Jenny, is even to expand that metaphor that dogs are a good model for us scientifically in understanding certain diseases such as cancer, but also dogs are a good model for humans to be decent people, don't you think?
Exactly.
So there's all these needs to have dogs and Fuzzybutts in our life, but there's also just the human element, is that dogs just make us better people, for God's sakes.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
You're a good character too.
I have a question. I love, so I'm occasionally Chef Big Dog, and so I'm curious about your process. So do you source all the ingredients locally, or you said you do the preparation of the broth yourself, but how do you source your ingredients?
Oh no, we make it in we're under very tight USDA regulations, and then the facilities that we make them in are FDA certified. So we can't, I mean, people ask me in my kitchen, and I don't think that would work. It started out with just with the prototypes, but yeah, we source our own, because I want to know where everything comes from, and so
Absolutely.
It's really top-notch ingredients. And I work with, the meat is all USDA meat, and the malt barley is really high quality. It's the same as used in the beer. It's really one of the better beer malts, and so yeah, we source everything, and it's all US sourced, and even our packaging is US. We try and keep everything US made.
So it's prepared here in the US and it's bottled here in the US as
yes.
well.
And the packaging is made here in the US.
Wonderful.
So the bottles are made in the US. There are bottles you can buy in other you can get from other countries, but we don't do that.
No, that's important for our audience to know. That's very, very important information, because I go into Hollywood Feed, and I want to ask you here in a bit, it's on my notes, if you're in Hollywood Feeds, because they have 140 stores all around. We've had Sean McGee here on our show, interviewed him for Fuzzybutts and Friends. Would be happy to connect the two. Hollywood Feed is great, but I can't tell you, anytime I go into Hollywood Feed to get my kids a treat, when I'm in there, that's exactly what I look at, is where's this come from? Because I don't trust anything, Jenny, that's not put together here in the United States.
Right. No, and that we don't compromise on that. And like I said, the packaging, we would like to keep everything US made. So all the packaging is made here in the US. And so, which is, great but, so it's, and we've been working with the same. We've been working with sources for years and years and have great relationships. So, yeah, we know what
Wonderful.
we're getting.
Well, so your website says that you're in 500 stores. Is that correct currently?
Probably more. I mean, it's just, yeah. And it's, like I said, they're not all pet stores. We are actually working with a store now that has 800 locations, and we've been expanding slowly. And we started out in a small segment of their stores, and now we're expanding into more of their stores. So
Wow,
that's exciting, you know.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Well, can you tell us what the store is so people know where to find you out there?
The store is Pet Supplies Plus, and they are actually expanding across the country. I mean, we work mostly with independents, because not the big box stores, because I really like the independents. Their staff is usually very knowledgeable, and they care about what they sell. And you can go in, and if you need help with something, you can get it, and they're educated. They can educate the customer about it, and we just really like doing that. And it's not just warehoused and um, anyway. So that's mostly who we work with. And I mean, the bulk of our business is wholesale, but we do some, we sell a lot on Amazon, and we sell on our website. And then the custom labels that we do, people can buy custom labels, but they get it through our website. That's because that's just a specialty thing.
Wonderful.
I believe that there is, I'm pretty sure it's Pet Supplies Plus in Madison, Wisconsin, that is one of our Gold Paw sponsors. So do you know if they have Bowser Beer in that store or not? Or I can just go look and
I would
see
have to find out, because they just started expand. In fact, we've just gotten a whole bunch of orders this month. They were originally starting in the stores that had the bakery wall, and it was like a section. And then I now think they're now expanding, but they actually, all the stores can purchase the cigars if they want. They're in their inventory. And then we're trying to get them to expand it out further, into all the stores. Some of the stores, it's interesting because a lot of them are corporate owned and some are franchise owned. And we work with a lot of the stores independently too, that were coming to us before we connected with the corporate people. So,
well, I'll check with them, because that'll be nice, because that's where we're going to have one of our slobber saloons. So it would be really great to say they can order it, exactly. Yeah. Or if where we're having it is not far from one of the Pet Supplies Plus stores. So we'll push ordering from your website, and then if they can't wait that long to get it, they can run to Pet Supplies Plus.
Yeah.
What about distribution? Because I've actually met so many on my travels and all the events I've done over the past 15 years. I've met so many entrepreneurs that are starting out in the pet retail business in whatever capacity. And one thing that I've learned that seems to be really the biggest chasm for them to cross and get into the much larger marketplace is distribution. So has that been tough for you as well?
Well, we decided years ago, I mean, because we ship it all over the country, and I used to be on the East Coast, and now, I mean, I lived in the South too, but I started when I was in Virginia, and then I was in Phoenix, and then now I'm in Seattle. So it was just easier to get a centralized warehouse. So our warehouse currently is in St. Louis. So we actually ship the beer, because depending on where we have it made, that can change. And so we ship it from the production facility to the warehouse in St. Louis. And we also ship some to our headquarters here in Seattle, but we have limited, storage capacity. So we mostly distribute out of the Seattle. And so it's because it's centrally located, you can just, go into either direction of the country, and that seems to work out really well. And they're large capacity, so we can take, shipping is everybody's worst enemy, but it's back to life, and you have to ship a lifted product. And so it's a little different. So we try and we use their shipping tier. They ship a large volume, so that's good, better pricing. But then we also, we do a lot of business on Amazon too, and so we ship to their warehouses too, and then they fulfill there. So it's different. It's you look at different things. We've looked at also working with just actual distributors. And, you know, so we're considering, we've been doing, up until now, we've just been doing direct sales, but we are looking into working with some distributors too, to get it out there.
Well, that's wonderful. What is the pet retail business like now? What do you think it's going to be doing over the next year? Because we're in some high inflationary times. What are the challenges you're seeing in pet retail right now?
Well, you know, I started in 2008 when everything was crashing.
I remember that.
Time to start.
Way to plan that, Jenny.
Yeah, that was not a good plan. And, you know, and then when we had, you know, even with COVID, I mean, I was really worried. We lost a lot of stores that shut down. And so, but then people switched to online, and then now they're back. I think, you know, pet stuff is it's almost inflation proof. It's not quite, but people will do anything for their pets. And I think people are actually also really happy to get back out into stores, and they want to see things, and they want to, you know, pick it up and look at it and that sort of thing. They want to take their dog in to shop with them. And so a lot of these independents are doing very well because people like to go. I mean, every time I'm in a pet store, I mean, they're always busy. And I think, and I talk to our, you know, stores that we work with. We love, you know, talking with them and getting feedback and talking and helping them understand how to sell the product. And, you know, I say it's how you make your customers feel that they're going to come back, and why they're going to pick you over a big box store or another store down the street or whatever is going to be because how they feel when they come in the store. And, you know, and it's true. If you feel welcome and that your dog feels welcome and everything, it's, you know, it's huge. So I think they will continue to do well. And, you know, that, like, you know, when COVID hit, we were, you know, we had a hard time getting product made because the grocery stores were putting huge demands on the production lines. And so we went for months without being able to get product made. And we were not the only ones. I mean, there were many, many places like that. But the demand was still there. And so when we finally got back in production again, I mean, we had people lined up to buy it. So I think, you know, as long as the demand's there, and after all this time too, you know, I've seen a lot of products come and go, and a lot of, you know, fads or whatever, or, you know, concepts that just didn't stick. And this is stuck. So.
Yeah, and I foresee a good right, exactly. Knock on wood, right? You never know about the next pandemic that's just around the corner to happen, or some other type of,
but you know, the pandemic also made a lot of people adopt dogs. You know, they brought in dogs to their homes because they wanted the companionship.
Right.
So, you know, I hope they keep them and not return. I mean, I know there's been a lot of return to the shelter, and people don't realize sometimes the responsibility of having a pet. But
I fostered 3 times during the pandemic, and I have 3 new animals in my house.
Well, you know, I just think that going back, do you know if you're in any of the Hollywood feed stores? Do you have?
No, we don't work in Hollywood feed. I'd love to work with them, but no, that doesn't ring a bell.
I think Sean McGee, he understands the pet retail business very well. He understands the value proposition. He and his stores deliver a level of customer service, I think, that's exceptional. All of their employees are very well versed in all the food and all the product line. You go in there and ask.
I'm writing his name down now.
Ginger can connect you guys.
Okay.
Friendly with them, and we've had him on the show. And he and his wife are lovely people. And they've just done. I think they're in 140 stores. Are they built 140 stores now?
No, they have, I think, over 200 now.
Wow.
Okay.
It's the same thing. I was on the web. They've grown aggressively, I guess, from when did they start, Ginger? What year? I can't recall.
Well, I can't remember exactly when Hollywood Feed started, but Sean McGee took over in 2006, I think it was.
That's right.
And at that time, if I remember correctly, I think they had 3 stores in Memphis and 1 just outside of Memphis.
So a little over 15 years.
So he expanded during the 2008 as well.
Yeah, we'll make the connection, Sean. The great people, Hogwood Store is just a wonderful, wonderful pet boutique, pet retail store.
Great.
And we
Yeah.
love making connections here, connecting people on Fuzzy Butts and Friends. That's what we do.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
love. I mean, if you look now, I mean, we have so many dogs. People post pictures and we repost them, but dogs in their sports t-shirts and things like that. They all have teams, and it's it's really funny. So
There's
Super Bowl,
somebody,
Well,
I'm just thinking of somebody else I need to introduce
well,
you to.
you're not big enough yet to as a company though to have your own dogs to sponsor and build your own dog sports arena yet.
no, not yet. No.
But that's a great vision.
Dog.
That's a great vision, though, isn't it? Because you have when companies get big enough, like Nike, they just buy the stadium and they buy the team and everything. And I know, of course, dog sports are not that big, but I love the idea of I love the dachshund dashes. I have this wonderful idea of having competitive doxy dashes with Bowser beer
Oh, yeah.
jerseys
Corgi
on.
runs, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, can you not picture a dachshund with that cigar hanging out of its mouth?
yeah. I was blanking the other day, but Bark Andre Fury is the Golden Knights he's a little terrier. Is it Westie? No, he's a little terrier, and he is their mascot, their unofficial mascot. He's also a therapy dog. And then we sent him cigars, and so he has his victory cigar every time they win. And then he's off visiting children at the hospitals and everything. I mean, you really think about dogs, how much of a comfort they are. You think about the comfort teams and the therapy dogs, and we work with a lot of therapy dogs, and they just provide innumerable, I mean, just immeasurable support, and you just it's hard to imagine. I mean, you look at people who use them in dental practices and hospitals, and when you have just tragic events and things like that, and dogs are just very comforting.
So you've opened up a way for me to mention Pete. So
yes.
Pete, that's Pete. He and two of his friends were the first 3 dogs that St. Jude let in the hospital here in Memphis.
Is that right?
To visit with the kids, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's amazing how much comfort they bring.
And what better way to celebrate our companionship with our Fuzzy Butts than a beer and a cigar? That's just, or at least the bros. That's how the bros do it.
After they do their therapy, they can't take that to therapy.
Yeah, no, no drinking and smoking in therapy.
Well, Jenny, this has been a great conversation. Have I left anything out? Is there something else you'd like to add about your wonderful company and the mission that you're on?
Just that we love, I mean, working with dogs, and we really want to bring quality product. There are a number of I really want people to remember to read labels and do their research. There's some recently a lot of competition, and people are having more these dog beer concepts, but it's a bone broth, and you just have to be really careful because bone, you could drink a dog could drink a whole bottle of Bowser beer and not have a problem, but bone broth is something that you really just need a little bit of, because you can give them digestive problems if they drink too much. So I think people should really research and make sure that they understand what they're giving their dogs and read the labels and just know, make intelligent choices. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with bone broth, but I'm just saying I think people should be aware of what they do give their dogs and how much they give them. And little dogs especially, I mean, people you can see a lot of overweight dogs because people give them a lot of treats. They love giving them treats because they think it's something that they want to reward their dog. But again, it's just like anyone else. You can't eat 10 hamburgers a day and be healthy.
Yeah, people give their dogs treats because they love them, and I'm like,
yes.
No.
Yeah. Well, if you think a big biscuit for a little dog, that's a lot of calories. So
yeah,
just being intelligent about how you do, give your dogs treats.
Well,
and make sure you're not skimping on the regular nutrition and giving them too many treats.
Absolutely. And just whenever you're in your pet retail, your local pet retailer, then just always ask for Bowser beer, and if not, recommend that they find a way to get them some. So
Yeah.
I guessing that's the kind of the dark side of success, though, right? Is you have competitors that come into the marketplace, and some of them they try to rip off from your successes, and they offer an inferior product, and they try to undercut you in prices. That seems to happen. Is that happening to you?
Um, Only in the sense that, I mean, yeah, we see a lot of marketing material very similar, but I mean, we recently came across, for instance, somebody was selling a beer for dogs, but there were no ingredients on it. There was nothing said anything about where it was made and how, and that's just, I just don't know how they got it past any, I mean, that wouldn't pass any agency, regulatory agency. And somebody gave my daughter a can of it, and she had it sitting out, and it exploded eventually because it just probably didn't have any preservatives there, but there was no ingredients. So, things like that, that makes me angry, because we go through so many hoops to, to follow all the regulations and label it properly, and to make sure we follow everything and be out there in front, and just for liability's sake, for one thing.
Yeah, and I know that that's an arduous and expensive process, is the testing
Yes.
and the labeling and all the regulatory compliance. So it's tough when you have new entrants in the marketplace that subvert that process just to put a cheaper product on the market. Well, we always recommend here at Fuzzybutts and Friends to our audience, pet parents, to always do your research and always always read the label. I guess know what you're buying, especially as it pertains to your fuzzy butt, because there are products out there that they sell that can be very dangerous. So do you read?
And know who's behind promoting a product. I mean, there was a whole thing on, grain-free products and things like that. And a lot of the research being done were being supported by food manufacturers. And so, you just have to be smart about, do your research and look. But I just want to also say our tagline is your dog drinking responsibly? And it's meant to make you think about, what you're giving your dog. So just, make sure you don't give them alcohol, but, give them healthy things.
I love it. Well, Jenny, where can our audience find you on social media and learn more about Bowser Beer?
Well, at Bowser Beer is our Instagram, and we have Facebook, and we're on Twitter. And then we have bowserbeer.com is our website. Our corporate name was Three Busy Dogs, and that just goes back to, we originally had three very busy dogs, and there was a Golden Retriever, a Rottweiler, and a Westie. And then we had a fourth dog who was a Mastiff. She was 11 and a half. The Rottweiler and the Mastiff came to us because our neighbor next door died, and we knew no one would adopt them, and there was a 130-pound Rottweiler, and we just didn't want him to be
just dumped someplace,
somewhere or whatever. So we took them both in, and they joined our Golden Retriever and our Westie, who was a little rescue. And so they became, three of them were very busy. And then the Mastiff, who was 11 and a half, and she lived to be 14 and a half, which is just ancient.
wow.
Mastiff. But she was our busy dog emeritus. So they became the corporate. The Three Busy Dogs was the corporate name, and then our trade name is Bowser Beer, because that's what everybody knows us by. So,
I love it. I have the infamous Fuzzy Butts. That's my crew. That's my Motley Mud crew on my end.
Well, and when we had to move across country, I bought an old used plumber's van, and we just loaded them into the van and drove.
It's a great story, and it's a wonderful product, Bowser Beer. I love it. I love, Jenny, that there are so many more use cases. Now I've thought about it. Next time I'm going backpacking, I'll make sure I have a plentiful supply of Bowser Beer. And next time I do one of my sponsored events, backpacking for cancer awareness, and
I'll be happy to hook you up.
Yeah, we'd love to potentially talk about you being our we'll have our Bowser Beer jersey. I won't, but we'll have Grayson. Grayson will have a Bowser Beer jersey. With the
I have t-shirts. Working with Puppy Up. I think it's a wonderful wonderful organization, and we're looking forward to contributing to their walks and your Slobber Saloon, and I hope they're a huge success.
I am so excited about them. That's all I can that I can think about is our slobber saloons, because I
Good
I
idea.
love to get out in the public and meet all the dogs.
Yeah.
I'm the dog person, so I just can't wait. I just absolutely can't wait. But
Yeah,
I will
you-
make
you-
sure that they drink responsibly.
That's right.
Yeah, Ginger, you need to have that slogan. Make sure on your saloon or your bar, you have that slogan. That's a great slogan. I love it. Jenny, you're welcome back here. You truly are a friend of the
Thank
Fuzzy
you.
Butts, and you're welcome back here anytime to talk about a new product launch. You have new flavors, more beer. Maybe you'll do tequila or something
Yeah.
for all the Chihuahuas out there, or all the hard drinking dogs. That's a great thing about Bowser Beer and what you're doing is it gives you a lot of a creative platform to go on to launch new products and
That's
ideas.
right. Yeah.
I look forward to
Treat.
a successful future of Bowser Beer and having you back on the show. But before we go, we like to end our program with the Puppy Up Foundation Cancer Awareness Tip of the Week. Ginger, take it away for us, please.
Okay, so February is Pet Dental Health Month. And one of our early warning signs of canine cancer is, we always say loud odor, but some people ask what that is. So maybe an obnoxious odor, a stinky odor from your dog's mouth. And dog's breath is kind of stinky anyway. But if it's really obnoxious, you should really take your dog in and have their mouth checked out. Dental health is, obviously dental health, just like for dogs, just like for people, it helps health all the way around. So just make sure you check your mouth, your dog's mouth, not your mouth, well, your mouth if you want to, but your dog's mouth for any abscesses that are not healing in there, anything that could cause that obnoxious odor, and have it checked out and have your dog's teeth cleaned.
Yeah, it's a great tip because we don't talk about oral melanoma, which is one of the biggest ones, the oral cancers that you find in dogs. We don't talk about it enough because and we should, because it's very aggressive. It's not that common, but when it happens, typically it's very aggressive and it's very hard to treat. So oral melanoma is a real big problem. And it's more than just obnoxious odor as well. It's a prolonged, sustained, very bad odor, bad breath, but it doesn't go away. You can give them all the greenies and you want, and it persists. So if you have a dog that has a stinky breath, it just won't go away. Take him to see the vet, but that's for sure. Well, thank you, Puppy Up Foundation, Ginger, for the cancer tip of the week. And I want to, did I miss anything? Did I screw anything up, Ginger? You got that look.
I know you didn't screw anything up. The only thing, when you said stinky breath, it just reminded me of the dog that I adopted when he was older, and he had the most horrific breath that I named him. He didn't have a name, so I named him Grandpa Stinky Breath, Grandpa for short. But that he had to have his teeth cleaned every 3 or 4 months for about a year and a half to get his, that obnoxious odor away, and that changed his health. Totally changed his health as well.
That would be a great cartoon character spokesperson for canine dental. Grandpa Stinky Breath tells you brush your dogs. Have the little character up there. I think that would be cute. Well, Jenny, thank you so much for being a part of Fuzzybutts and Friends, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Ginger. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining in this week. We drop a new episode every Tuesday. I like to say by 7 a.m. Eastern time. We like to get them out earlier than that, but that's not always the case. But we'll have it up every Tuesday. A new episode drops. You can find us on your podcast platforms such as iHeartRadio or Spotify. I think we're on a lot of the rest, but if not, send us an email. If we're not on your podcast platform, send us an email at fuzzybuttsstudios@gmail.com. Let us know. And if you want to watch this podcast, see us live and banter about and have a good time, you could do so on our YouTube channel. That's fuzzybuttsstudios.com. That's it. We'll see you everyone next Tuesday. Puppy up. Talk soon.